Hello everybody, Sniping is Fun here. I welcome you back to my next video in the RWBY Theory, Speculation, and Prediction series of videos. And in my next prediction, my next theory speculation, I basically want to talk about a kind of topic that we don't know anything about yet, but a lot of fans have been craving for, especially since Volume 3, now that we know, we've seen this picture obviously. And obviously want to know the backstory on all these characters on Team Stark. And I wanted to give a quick little interpretation of my own predictions on basically what happened in Team Stark's past. Basically, while they were at school, while they were Team Stark, and basically maybe their time after when, leading up to probably when the birth of Yang and RWBY happened. So I'm not going to go into full detail on it here because I really don't have a super full theory or speculation on this yet. But I wanted to give kind of my thoughts on this so far on the subject. Now, basically, what we so far know is that obviously Raven is Yang's mother and Summer is RWBY's mother. We know that Raven and Crow are brother and sister and that they were teammates with Summer and Tai Yang. Tai Yang obviously being the father of both RWBY and Yang. And basically all we know is that since Yang is older, he was with Raven first, and then something happened to the point where Summer came into his life and they had RWBY, which was probably around the time we know that she left home or whatever the reason Raven left. Now we don't know if Tai Yang knows the reason she left or not, because we know Yang does it. We know Yang does not know why her mother left her and her dad and all that, but we don't know yet if Tai Yang knows, because if he knows, he probably doesn't want to let Yang know. He might not. We have no clue if exactly that's the reason or not. And we do know, obviously, Tai Yang is a super overprotective dad of both his daughters, which is probably the reason because both their moms disappeared. Obviously, she walked off somewhere, whatever the reason why. We don't know yet. And Summer is apparently dead, or she disappeared, or whatever. So he's an overprotective dad, and Crow is like the uncle that comes in to visit his nieces, obviously. Now, Team Stark's past, obviously, I'm going to only be going off this image on this picture, kind of further speculation, but I would assume that maybe Tai Yang wasn't as overprotective, or people kind of go off the whole Wizard of Oz thing, him as the scaredy cat, the cowardly lion type character he feels like that, because he does feel like he's kind of being overprotective of his daughter. He's kind of doesn't feel the Tai Yang we see in Volume 3 actually in current day does not really resemble this Tai Yang. So he seemed like he was probably the more heroic character, maybe back at a younger age, and maybe some sort of events made him more overprotective and or cowardly or scared or something or whatever, which could be detailing what happened to maybe Summer. That could probably be the reason. The fact that he has 2 daughters he has to take care of, and he's now a dad. That could be the reason, because obviously this is in school Tai Yang. When it comes to Summer, all I see is RWBY. RWBY is exactly the carefree, happy-go-lucky girl. That's all I really see from her. The one that wants to keep her teammates all together in good moods, good connections, being friends and stuff like that. That's all I really see with her. When it comes to these two, I don't really think Crow was much different when he was younger. He probably was the ladies' man, because obviously he seems to hit on the women. So basically he still was probably like that, and but I don't know really anything about Raven, except how secretive she is, and maybe when she was younger she was secretive too. Maybe Crow couldn't connect with her or anything. And it seems maybe how the relationship between at the beginning where RWBY and Weiss were. Weiss didn't like that really RWBY was the leader of Team RWBY. Maybe Raven and Summer kind of didn't really become friends until later on, because I think they might have become friends. I don't really think they would have hated each other, but I think maybe she thought she should have been the leader, and maybe Summer wasn't ready for that type of thing. That's kind of my prediction. I think it's mother daughter, how RWBY had that relationship with Weiss as a friend, but also a teammate that didn't really think she deserved to be leader over RWBY. I really think that was kind of what Raven was for Summer. Obviously, he probably would have hit on Summer, but he probably still would have been brother relationship. He tried to become friends with Tai Yang. Tai Yang has these two here, and he probably fell in love with obviously there has been some sort of connection with Raven if he was with her to have Yang. I don't know if she really shared the exact love with him like he probably had for her, but there has to be something there because you have two women on your team from school that you both have a daughter with each. There has to be a reason why he had him. Like, there's probably some love there, and maybe after she left, Summer came in the picture trying to fill his heart, motivate him to pick himself back up. Maybe he was depressed when she left. I have no clue. Like, we really don't know. The whole Team Stark past is, we don't know jack squat. We don't know jack diddly about this team. And I really think like it is kind of like a RWBY situation. Like, Team RWBY didn't really, in Season 1, really click all that well. You had the sisters, Yang and RWBY, and then you had Blake, who was the mysterious lady, like Raven is, and then you kind of had Weiss, who's like, the stuck-up girl that, probably like thought she was better than really some of her teammates. And she becomes friends slowly with RWBY. Like, I think Raven probably fits the Weiss category as well. And became probably friends with Summer. Now, I know I'm going off on every which way here, and I didn't really talk so much about Team Stark's past entirely in terms of prediction. But here's basically what I think it is. I think Team Stark is like what we see with Team RWBY, but not exact. I think there's a reason for why, maybe even in school, why Raven left. Maybe we really don't know that. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe why eventually afterwards she had to go off on a mission or something. Maybe she left. I have no idea. But I think there was a connection between they had a hard time connecting, and they become a team together, and then they kind of become friends, and some of them fell in love and had kids, and then they went off and became hunters and huntresses after the fact. Now, leading up to the birth of RWBY and Yang, the only thing we know about is that both of the ladies actually disappeared out of the story. Raven went off and disappeared, left her daughter and Tai Yang, and Summer disappeared, pretty much presumably dead, because they have a gravestone for her. So they assumed either if they did not find the body and it's buried there, she disappeared to the point where they could not find her, so they assumed that she was dead and just made a gravestone as a memorial to her. So I would assume maybe in terms of like maybe now that we know about Salem and she's like this major villain that's going to be in the series, maybe it's all started with Team Stark. And maybe that's the reason why Summer disappeared, is something to do with, Salem or some sort of evil entity or force that they fought when they got out of school. And maybe that's also the reason why Raven left. Maybe something to do with that fight, which presumably left him with $2 as an overprotective dad. And he, compared to here, he seems a lot younger and like a single man that has probably no worries in his life, and now he has to take care of 2 daughters. They're probably a handful as well. And he's kind of become like a protective uncle that's like doing his missions too, like he did with Ozpin and whatnot. So, Team Stark's past. I think it really gravitates to what we have seen with Team RWBY. Like, they didn't really work so well together, but this is probably a picture that took place later on, like after they were in school for a while, maybe even when they first got out of school. We don't know how old these guys are here, if this is still school age or out of school age. We have no clue. Which then led up to sometime during that time he got with Raven. They had Tai Yang. They had Yang, and she left. And then maybe Summer tried to comfort him to the point where they kind of fell in love and had RWBY. And then she disappeared too. And then he kind of parallelly became more of a protective uncle because now his sister is disappeared out of the picture, even though he has kept in conversations with her. And Summer is just gone. So I know this video didn't really go super in-depth on stuff, and especially stuff that probably people are already predicted on, but I do intend to actually, once we start getting more information on this, this is certainly a prediction theory, speculation type thing. I want to revisit later on when we start seeing Volume 4 and beyond. We start getting a little bit more details on these characters. But as of now, I think Team Stark's past is kind of like what we're seeing with Team RWBY. And they're going to kind of correlate at some point. Now we're going to figure out, are they going to be the exact same, or is Team RWBY going to differentiate its path from Team Stark? Because Team Stark's path pretty much led to the disappearance of one of their teammates and presumably the death of another. Where is Team RWBY's path going to lead them? That's my thoughts. Put in the comments what you guys think. What do you guys think about Team STRQ's past? What kind of happened to them when they were in Beacon, when they were in school, when they first became hunters and huntresses outside of school when they graduated, and leading up to the birth of RWBY and Yang and stuff like that? Put in the comments what you guys think. We could discuss it there. My name is Sniping. It's fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. See you all later in the next RWBY Theory Speculation Prediction Series videos. Bye.